Dave, a game that I didn't know how cool Doom was. So Doom the Dark Ages. So I always thought, didn't Doom start as like a top-down shooter?
The original Dooms started as like like one of your very first person shooters. And they were all PC based, and then they got ported over on consoles.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously I don't know much about Doom. This one's ID Software, and it's coming out in 2025.
Developed by id Software, published by Bethesda. Roll the trailer because I just want people, before I say anything, I just want people to experience this. And I just have to say, for all of my old heads, all of my retro heads, Doom is fucking back, baby. And I watched, okay, and I know that I crap on first person shooters a lot. This is my first person shooter. And right now, what you guys are looking at, if you're just listening, we've gone back to a very medieval setting. And the story for this game is the same story that it always is, and that is fine because Doom is always the same thing. The army of hell is trying to take over, and you are the Doom Slayer trying to put them all back in their place. And if you are just listening, we're getting this like close up of the Doom Slayer right now, and he's just like he's mounting up for war, and he's grabbing his gun, and he gets shot down into the space, and then the whole trailer just goes absolutely crazy right now. I don't know who did this, the soundtrack for this. I don't know if they've got Slipknot to do the soundtrack. They got the Skull Crusher just literally running through. He's got the chainsaw shield that he just threw in the air, running through, like absolute madness. And I'm so excited for this. Are you excited for this?
I am like super excited for this one too. Like I said, I've never really looked into Doom, and I'm kind of sad that I didn't.
This is one of my favorite parts too, when he does that jump smash, and all the enemies explode, and then he's running in with the ball and chain and hits that guy and then kicks that guy right in the chest.
This is my favorite part, when he went in a mech and he's like going against these massive bosses. That was insane. I thought it was super cool.
And the end of the trailer, guys, if you guys are just listening, we got to see him fly on a dragon, and he's now controlling the dragon, and the dragon is breathing fire into this fucking this like gigantic, like, oh my god, I'm ready to run through a wall for Doom the Dark Ages. I'm so excited for this game.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of disappointed in myself that I didn't ever actually look into Doom. Like, I always thought it was like a retro, like top down. Like, I didn't realize this first person. Like, nobody ever told me, hey Adam, have you ever played Doom? I was like, and nobody gave me an explanation of what it was. They're like, have you played? And I was like, nah, I've never played. Nah, I've never looked it up. And now, like, I feel like terrible that I've never like actually given this game a shot. It's kind of like a Space Marine. When my friend told me about Space Marine, I was like, it's okay. And then I played it. I'm like, oh, this is fun. And that's the same like sense I'm getting from this game. I'm excited for this one.
It's gonna be so sweet. And honestly, like, I know I say it a lot that GoldenEye is kind of like the first person shooter to start it all. Honestly, Doom is really the first person shooter that started it all. I mean, and it started out on PC, and it got ported over to the SNES, and it got ported over to the Genesis, and it didn't get ported over great. You know what I mean? Like, the PC version was still the it version. You know what I mean? But the console versions for my generation was like, it was good. You know what I mean? Like, it was good enough. It was a good enough representation. And then following Doom all the way through its lifespan was just like, I don't know, dude. I just grew up on this, and like, this is my first person shooter. Like, this is my Call of Duty campaign. You know what I mean? And you know that it's exactly the type of things that I love. If the game itself is like, you have hell monsters and giant beasts and everything like that, and like, if the game looks disgusting, I love it. And that's exactly what Doom is.
And that's exactly how I felt. It just seems like pure chaos the whole time, and just over the top, like death and destruction. And I love that in games too. Now you said, so it's a prequel to Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, correct?
Yes. Okay. So basically, there's not a ton on this story right now, and I did as much of a deep dive as I can. And honestly, after Adam's presentation of Black Ops, I feel like this one's going to be very lacking. But this is all the information that we have on it right now. But this is going to work as a prequel to 2016's Doom and Doom Eternal. And basically, what's happening is, like we said, it's giving a little bit of a medieval vibe. So you're gonna go back in time before 2016 Doom and kind of learn the origin story of the Doom Slayer himself. And like I said, Doom doesn't really have an intricate story ever. I mean, their storyline, obviously, it's not anything like really crazy, but there is substance there. And I think a lot of fans that are fans of the series and longtime fans of the series are going to love this idea of going back and kind of, learning where the Doomslayer came from and like learning a little bit about him and his origin story and stuff like that. Because in 2016 Dooms in Doom Eternal, you just were the Doomslayer and you're dropped in and kind of took on a life from there. But like seeing the origin story is something that me as like an old retro head is like I'm really excited for that.
Gonna ask. So in the former games, they just kind of plop you in, and say you're the Doomslayer, go kill a bunch of stuff.
Basically, yeah.
What elements do you want to see from like or Easter eggs from the Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal? Is there anything that you think's gonna kind of come on over, or it's gonna be like a lot of new stuff? What do you think's gonna kind of happen with the gameplay and the story?
I mean, I think we're all kind of like hoping for the Easter eggs, right? So, like, obviously, at some point, I want to be able to pick up the BFG. You know what I mean? Like, I would like it. The Easter eggs are really weapons and kind of locations and things like that. But it's really cool that you said that your favorite part of the trailer was when you got into the mech, because that really is. It's not so much like an Easter egg, but it's something that fans have really, really wanted, and you do have the ability to use the Atlan mechs, which people from 2016 Doom and Doom Eternal, they really wanted the ability to do that. And that, like, along with the origin story, with how it all looks, with how the gameplay works, adding that aspect of the game to also be able to jump into the mechs and fight these gigantic beasts is just like the cherry on like the cherry on the whipped cream. You know what I mean? It's like they kind of nailed everything that I wanted in this game just from the trailer. And the scene at the end where you're riding the dragon, that's insane. Like that's something that like yeah, I've never even really seen in Doom before. And being able to like be to control that dragon that's breathing fire on top of jumping in the mechs, on top of bringing back the old school weapons like the chainsaw, shield, and like hopefully the BFG is going to be in there, and just be having the old school melee with the kick and like throwing the chain ball. Like I've honestly seen everything in the trailer that I wanted to see, which is very surprising to me, and it does not happen a lot.
You can probably tell me a little bit more about so how is like the map structure like structure compare like is it is it all like linear? Like I don't know how because so that the way this trailer looked, it looked like you'll be able to like kind of almost explore a little bit more in terms of like where you are, especially with like the dragon. Unless you think that's gonna be like one of those scenes where like you're flying and like doing stuff on the dragon that way.
If I had to guess, I believe that's gonna be like a scene, like a mission based thing where you're supposed you like. I don't think you hop on and it's like a thing. I don't think you're gonna be able to fly the dragon all the time. I don't think you're gonna be able to hop in the mech all the time, anytime you want. Like there's specific instances where you're gonna have to do that stuff. And Doom, I say it's linear, but it's exploratory linear, if that makes sense. There's probably a better word for it, but it's like there's branching paths that you can go off on. And if you go on these branching paths, and like a lot of times you need to do that, like you need to go to a branching path and grab a key to unlock a door and then go back to this spot. And like, but you're always kind of moving forward, and they always kind of chug you along and let you know like what you need to do. Like you're never getting lost. It's still a linear game. So like unfortunately, if people think that like you're just gonna be able to like hit Y and like your dragon's gonna swoop down and you jump up on top of it and you can just fly around wherever you want to go, like that's not the game. But I think Doom players are kind of used to that and expecting that. You know what I mean? Like they know what to expect. So
Yeah, they're not going to change their identity and turn into a open world game that doesn't make sense with the story or even the gameplay of Doom. I was just curious on how because I've never played, and so I was just curious on how all that works in terms of how is the dragon going to work, the mech's going to work. But that boss battle in the mech, that's insane. That's so cool looking.
so sick, and aren't the weapons so sick? The skull crusher, where you're literally, guys. I'm telling you, if you guys are just listening, please do yourself a favor, and when you have a chance, head over to YouTube and watch that trailer, because that trailer, especially if you're an old retro head like me, that trailer made me want to run. through a wall. I was so excited. Like, and you look at the comments, man, and like I was looking for negative comments, and I didn't really find any like. And that video, that when IGN dropped that video had like 1.2 million views in, no joke, like 18 hours. And all the comments were just like, "Doom is fucking back." Like, yeah, yeah, it was so sick. And just like, just to see the community kind of rally behind it, and like everybody's excited, and we saw everything that we wanted to see in the trailer. I don't know. I'm blown away, and I think they did an amazing job. So shout out to id Software, shout out to Bethesda. I'm super excited for Doom. One negative here, and I did mention the soundtrack. The soundtrack in the trailer does sound amazing. As of this time, I do believe that Mick Gordon, who had a falling out with Bethesda from Doom Eternal, he's pretty popular. So if you don't know who he is, he's pretty popular for doing the soundtrack of Doom. The soundtrack for Doom is like regarded as one of the best video game soundtracks of all time. Mick Gordon will not be back on this project as of this time. So I know people were asking that. That's one of the first things because I was sharing this around with the homies, and they were like, "Is Mick doing the sound again?" And I was like, "Nah, it's not happening." But it still sounded really good. I think the soundtrack still sounded really good.
Yeah, I feel actually almost left out where I never got to experience Doom, and I'm like, I was hyped to see it, but I feel like I don't have as the true hype of like former players or Doom players in general have, and so I gotta get into the experience as soon as I can by playing Doom and Doom Eternal. So
I think you're gonna love this one, and it was funny that you mentioned that because me and Adam talked to we talk about these games and stuff and like what we're gonna do for the show, and I sent him one, and I'm like, "Yo, I think you're gonna love this one," or like I was like, I think I finally picked a game you're gonna love, and he's like, "You pick games that I love all the time," and I was like, "No, this one's gonna hit different," and like I'm glad that you're excited for it too. But yeah.
it's right though, because when I was like, ah man, Doom, like I've heard people talk about it. They're always so excited about it. But I honestly, I've never, and I'm gonna get so much crap for this. I've never actually like looked up Doom. I've never just pulled it up, never watched it. And then I watched this trailer. I was like, are all of them like this? And then so I went and watched Doom 2016 and Eternal, or not Eternal. Yeah. And I was like, what? Nobody ever explained this to me? I'm missing out. And so I'm definitely going to play them. My friend have them in their library. So I'm going to play his Doom games as soon as I possibly can because they look awesome.
So not too much on this game, guys. So we got all the information that we got here. It looks amazing. Check out the trailer if you are just listening. I implore you to check out the trailer. It is super sweet. We are getting this game sometime in 2025, and I cannot wait. It's gonna be fantastic.
Whew, GTA 6, better watch out.
I mean, GTA 6 is gonna win Game of the Year, but like this one is gonna be up there.
It's going to have its own awards, like the Soundtrack of the Year award or something like that. Yeah.
Maybe like a subcategory of like FPS of the year or something like that. You know what I mean? Guys, there's gonna be more games in 2025 than GTA 6.